What's going on, everybody? TraderBryce here. Sorry for the lack of small caps this week. I actually had the flu. Kind of sucked, but I'm getting better. Feeling a bit better today. The ibuprofen has certainly been helping, keeping that fever down. And it was a long week. My buddy was in town, and literally every other he had to leave early because I was sick, and it just sucked. But you know what? Worst things can happen. Like I said, I'm getting better now, and just trying to conserve my energy as best as I can. Traded a little bit this week. Traded today. Had a couple nice opportunities. We're gonna go over those. So hopefully you guys had a nice week as well. Market kind of just went a little sideways. That bear market rally is looking to continue so far, though. I believe the market's actually closed green today. But we're just gonna go through a couple trades today that I took, as well as some runners, and just kind of break those down, as you already know. So let's hop right on into the video here. We do a little bit of that and a little bit of this. Ooh. All right. So my main trade of the day was actually GSUN, that exhaustion low bounce. We'll go over that here on the daily chart. And unfortunately, just a big lack of follow through. Basically fell down from about $18 a share down to $2 without a bounce. And I was watching for that bounce today, given that high volume yesterday. And so we basically just consolidated, pardon me, did nothing really all morning, which isn't a great sign. I like these exhaustion low bounces to happen in the morning, but as you see, they don't have to happen in the morning. So I actually entered back in here, risking low of day, and literally, probably for better, I ended up going to Whataburger right around here, around 11:30. I wanted to try the honey butter chicken biscuit, I think is what it's called. Pretty good. By the time I got back, it was a little over $3. I sold half my shares here at like $3.15. Unfortunately, it just absolutely dumped all the way back down, literally to like low a day. And so I got out the remainder of my shares, like basically break even in the 250s. And it is what it is. It was still a decent trade. It just literally the lack of any follow through is just kind of upsetting. I didn't even see that news came out. That's crazy. At 10 in the morning, the Shaw law firm announces it is investigating claims against Golden Sun Education Group and encourages investors with losses to contact the firm. That's funny. That makes sense. It's basically a massive pump and dump. So again, decent opportunity, and just happened to have a nice exhaustion bounce. That probably ended up helping it out, as a matter of fact. Bad news can be good news when you're down 90% in 5 days. It's a catalyst at the very least. We also had GRND today, which was kind of crazy. It was an IPO. An IPO, I can't get any chart data here, but it IPO'd and just went straight up, basically up to 50. It opened up around $12 a share. It was a halt fest, very low volume. Just one of those ones. Unfortunately, I just can't get that chart data here. It did IPO in pre-market though, and it just kind of ran like straight up, went parabolic here, and then has done nothing. So that's going to be an interesting watch over the next few days, given it's a relatively lower float. Will be a good one to keep an eye on. I want to say, and I could be wrong. So this is a SPAC, and I'm pretty sure this is a SPAC for the company Grindr. That's what I saw. Anyways, that was like the press release I saw. So who knows? That's kind of funny though. Definitely something to watch though. Like I said, pretty low float, and I think worth keeping an eye on, just given the nature of everything that's running right now, which things like SATX, which had quite a run this week. We'll look at today's chart, today's action, and as well as the path here. We'll go like a 5-day chart here. So this is one of those, it was an IPO as well. Seems like IPOs are running once again, a recent IPO here. Beaten down. We got one big day of I say big volume, but the volume really wasn't all that high, roughly 1.5 million shares. And very similarly to HKD, which also did this, HKD, ATXG. They had that one big perk day, consolidated on low volume for a few, and then had that big breakout day. While I don't love these because they're lower volume, like very low volume, it kind of is nice to see that pattern is kind of back. So good to know to keep IPOs on watch, which is another reason I kind of want to keep GRND or GMDR on watch as well. Another recent IPO, although that one, ran big in the first day and actually closed up pretty high, where this did have a nice run on its first day as well. But the real movement happened here, going from basically $12 a share up to $80 over this multi-day run. They're annoying because they're just lower volume, but we had this consolidation yesterday, a fake dip and rip here, and I actually took 100 shares through $49, sold up at 59 out of this halt, ended up going up to 79, and then consequently dumped by the end of the day, closing red and closing at low a day, or near low a day, I should say. Is it done? I don't know. It's still pretty much front side. I mean, if anyone was short this over a few days, they're probably underwater, but you also have to think it's also down 50% from highs just intraday alone. And then I also traded NUTX today. Unfortunately, it kind of ended up going nowhere, but I like that daily chart a lot. So I got in here at $1.20 and was just expecting more on this multi-day breakout. So let me just go on a 1-year chart here. So we've got this, this is a former runner. It's a healthcare stock. But I was, again, expecting this breakout through that 124 level to be a bit more drastic, and it just wasn't, but it's still one that I'm going to continue to keep on watch going forward. I think it's still a decent setup. We also had, let's see here, FOXO was a little bit of a runner here at the end of the day. Yeah, so we had this power hour, nice, like decent little power hour action. I was looking at it here, here. Just again, given the follow through today, we haven't had a lot of it, but it's a chart I'm definitely going to keep an eye on. It's a beaten down stock, low floats in Amex, very, very beaten down. And I was just looking at it again, hoping eventually we can break this like dollar area here, but it's tough. A lot of these stocks are just really now getting beaten down, but now with a lot of resistance as well. We also had, I want to say it was ARDX. Yeah, ARDX. Interesting one. I got a lot of questions about this, but it's just, people are asking, if I think it's a good swing, why I'm not trading it. The reason is it's a 200 mil float stock. And it is what it is. Let me go to, here we go. So there is the gap fill potential, sure. Don't get me wrong, we're breaking out over these other levels. The problem is when, especially stocks like this that are high float and had a really big gap down, and let's take a look. I mean, it's a biotech stock, beaten down and off of a massive gap down. This was very clearly a bad news event, likely a failed trial, whatever, if it was phase 1, 2, or 3. These types of stocks, while they do have the gap fill potential, extremely difficult to recover when there's really no reason for it to do that, right? I mean, yeah, technically speaking, there's the gap fill, but when it gaps down that big on such bad news, and let's be real, let's call for what it is. This isn't Amazon, this isn't Facebook, right? Well, Facebook's beaten down too, but it's not Apple. There's no real reason for this to recover right now, unless they come out and cure the world of whatever, anything, some big breakthrough or whatever. There's really not a reason for it to be trading up here. And given that it's a high float, it's probably, if it did do that, it's going to take a while for it to recover. This was never a big mover even before now. So I struggle to believe that, that it will, maybe it gets to like $3 or something, but I just find it I have a feeling it's going to be a really choppy one. Similar to COSM, which has been a multi-day mover, a penny stock though. It's still listed, but just down, it was down like 6 cents or something. Oh, was it 6? Yeah, ish. And so this has been, a multi-day mover, but just really slow, higher float, very beaten down. It did have that gap fill here, but the extent of that gap fill was a lot lower. So, I mean, this gapped down to basically 8 cents a share from 14, which, yeah, it's still a 50% gap down, sure, 40% really. But, at that point, we already filled that gap. And it's so beaten down. It was trading at 6 cents. And notice how much volume it's taking to move this, right? That's another really key thing. the only days it really moves are the days it's rotating more than it's floating. When I look at something like ARDX, I find it hard to believe that day in, day out, with no real catalyst for it to be running, that it's going to continue to rotate its float, right? That's my personal opinion. Again, I could be completely wrong though. And so yeah, those are kind of the movers of the day today, in my opinion. I didn't see a whole lot else that I loved. You know, we had PXMD, yeah. Just a gap and crap stock, which unfortunately had a really nice daily chart for a potential bounce. I thought so anyways. We had this kind of exhaustion, not this exhaustion low, but this fake breakdown more or less. And then we had a nice gap up today and just nothing really came out of it. Nice gap out of the pre-market, and I personally actually tried a tiny bit of size through here and cut it for basically break even. And I was interested once we got this perk back through here. Where are we? Once we got this perk back through VWAP here, I was interested if it could consolidate. It just wasn't able to do it and just faded off all day. So not a whole lot of great action today. Some movers, but tough ones to trade, and that's kind of been the theme lately. Is the movers have been a bit lower volume and just overall, in my opinion, lower liquidity. So hopefully we get something moving forward. But you know what? In the meantime, singles add up. You got to keep reminding yourself that. One of my good trading friends, Dan Irish, has been doing a great job lately, especially this week. Just taking those singles, keeping the size small, and that's really all you can do in this market, guys. This isn't a growth market, right? We're not trying to grow, or I should say, this isn't an exponential growth market for trading accounts, and that's okay. Accept that. I've accepted it. I know a lot of people, a lot of traders have, and it's important to keep that size in check while the market is like this, while the setups are a little less than ideal. Setups are a little more subpar, even the good setups, right? They just don't come with a lot of liquidity on the long side. And for those of you who are short sellers, this is probably right now, honestly, a great time as long as you're not shorting these too early, right? Because you still do have these SATXs, right? The ones that are probably the best shorts because they're the most overextended. They are choppy and they will fall. It's just a matter of being patient enough to wait for them and really not getting chopped up in the meantime. That's my personal take on it. But, either way, it's still, I had a slightly red week this week. Very minimal though. Like I said, I kept my size in check. Last week was a great week for me. And that's really all my goal is right now, right? I know that my red weeks, they're going to happen, right? But I'm going to keep them small. And when my green weeks happen, I'm going to capitalize. And that's my goal. And I'm doing a great job with it. So I'm happy with all that so far. Or I should say so far. Yeah, I guess so far. And I'm going to keep doing that going forward. So anyways, guys, make sure you drop a like. Make sure you are subscribed. Make sure you got your post notifications on. And let me know down in the comments how you guys did this week. It wasn't the easiest week, in my opinion, but there were still opportunities there. And I think there'll be more going forward. You just got to keep adapting. If those lower liquidity setups are the ones that are going to keep providing opportunities, I'll just have to use smaller size and trade those. You know what I mean? It's about adapting and really not going for home runs right now. Anyways, guys, I'm out of here. Thank you so much. Have a great rest of your weekend. And I'll see you guys here next week, assuming I stay healthy. Thanks, everyone, and see you next week. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and thank you so much for being a part of the StocksToTrade family. We just hit 100,000 subscribers, but our goal by the end of this year is to get 150,000 new family members a part of our channel. So if you haven't already, be sure to hit that like button, comment down below, hit the subscribe button, and maybe even turn on your post notifications. We cannot do this without your guys' support. So thank you so much. And if you want to see more of what we're doing, again, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, and comment down below. We'll see you in the next video.